Yo, check this out. This is Wayne Wonder, representing for Warrior LTV. You see the vision, don't it? See the vision. Warrior LTV. Keep it locked.
Now, I'm gonna tell you. We, as bloggers, these are the issues that we need to address. You understand what I said? Set the bar for the youth. Share, like, and subscribe, and stay tuned to the channel. I don't know all this. Yes, greetings, ones and ones, brothers and sisters, in the mighty name of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I the First, and all things that's good and wonderful about us and amongst us. Welcome, viewers and subscribers. Viewers, if you like the content, subscribe and make a good platform. You know, see, because today we wake up this morning here with the sad news. Because we don't mourn the loss of life, you know. You see, we always hope people do better and adjust them ways and things and be beneficial to them fellow man. You know, see, so we don't mourn loss of life because we know say any day our bees, the good bees, can bite all our guy and a guy just switch. So today we there have to discuss the politician losing their lives in Jamaica over the period. I mean, this morning I read the news that one recently lost his life along the somewhere in Marcus Garvey Drive or Portmore, well, somewhere in another region there, you know. So we are going to discuss over time. So, you know, Jamaica is not stranger. It is no stranger to political, you know, killing and such the like. I don't know why they're not calling it assassination in this case, because to my understanding, I thought once you became a politician, you could no longer die but be assassinated. But so we are going to take it back in a history. You know, see, but today, because we see a connection here, we are sure how history, you know, kind of disturbing. Our political history in Jamaica kind of disturbing. We start with, because we're not a whole heap of time. Well, we just hope say the item pay attention and we not bore out the item. You know, see, Deputy Minister killed in campaign shootout. Now, this is October the 14th, 1980. We are discussing Roy Mcgann here. You know, see, we are discussing some political killing come right up to the most recent yesterday, Thursday. So, Kingston, Jamaica. A Jamaican government minister campaigned for re-election was shot and killed Tuesday when he and several armed men strode into a crowd of opposition party supporters and gunfire broke out. Okay? Deputy Security Minister Roy Mcgann, 46, and his bodyguard were killed and at least 3 people injured in the melee in a Kingston suburb. You know, I know the news a lie, you know, because you know, see, that's stupid, a lie that. Seen? Opposition Labour leader Bruce Golding charged Roy Mcgann and 2 carloads of armed supporters went to the Labour Party rally and started the shooting. He said Mcgann fired at arriving police, who fired back, killing the deputy minister and his bodyguard. Police confirmed that Mcgann and several men walked into the Labour Party crowd with guns, but they said they did not know which side started the shooting. They said they would have to await the result of ballistic tests on the bullets that killed Mcgann to determine whether he was shot by police or by a Labour Party supporter. One of the injured, a Mcgann supporter, was arrested for carrying the deputy minister's gun. But several hours later, a mob of about 300 Mcgann loyalists forced their way into the hospital where the wounded man was being treated and took him away. Prime Minister Michael Marley, himself the target of an assassination attempt last week, went on radio to urge Jamaicans to remain steadfast and calm. He said the Caribbean's nation October 30 election must proceed as scheduled. McGann was the latest victim of a wave of political motivated violence, marring the campaign for election to the island's 60-seat parliament. Since Manley announced last Friday that he was calling early election, fighting between political opponents claimed 450 lives, 17 in the last week. McGann was campaigning for re-election to Parliament from his Kingston district of St. Andrew Parish. According to police, McGill and several supporters drove to St. Andrew Garden Town Square, where a crowd of Labour Party supporters were waiting for their candidate, Joan Gordon, to be nominated to run against McGann. The deputy minister and his aide walked into the crowd, and moments later the shooting erupted. Police arriving at the scene were fired upon and they shot back. Authorities said when the crowd dispersed, McGill and bodyguard Errol Wright was found dead. Manley called the upcoming elections ahead of schedule in a bid to prop up his sagging PNP People's National Party government, but polls have indicated that the Labour Party is heading for a sweeping victory. So that is a headline from October the 14th, 1980 in a seat, and you hear distorting and condescending the media itself make the death of a politician sound as if say, well then, you know. I mean, this is a serious thing. A politician just walk in a crowd with a group of gunmen and just start fire shot and kill police. Well, it wasn't so. Politician walking in the crowd and the police from the opposition side and supporters from the opposition side just shoot Roy Mcgann and the police say, oh, boy, I want to go. I want to. Yeah, them just shot them and just make them know, say, go from here, say you're coming out. You see? Anyway, we're going to read a connecting story where me just realize that there's a bit of connection. But let me go in first. Joan Gordon-Webley. Webley whispers Joan haunted by 4 decades of vicious rumors. Never far from controversy, but with a fierce determination to survive, Joan Gordon-Webley finds herself in the eye of another storm. But the mother of 2 adult daughters is not afraid of controversies and harsh views. The present dispute over her switch from the Jamaica Labour Party to the People's National Party is no big deal. In fact, the soft-spoken Gordon-Webley, whose petite body hides her powerful punch, welcomed the scrutiny of her application by the PNP as part of the democratic process which attracted her to the party and away from the JLP, with which she had been associated since the 70s. For Gordon-Webley, who friends and enemies alike call just Joan, the dispute over her switch to the PNP is nothing compared to 2 vicious rumors which have dogged her over the years, despite no gain of truth to either. The political firebrand exposed her pain during an interview at the corporate ear office of one of her daughters last Friday as she at times laughed, became emotional, or displayed the British stiff upper lip which she must have developed during her time living in England after leaving Hanover where she was born. First, Gordon-Webley, nearly 4 decades after her political opponent, the then St. Andrew West Rural Member of Parliament, the PNP's Roy Mcgann, was killed during the brutal 1980 general election campaign. She is still haunted by the nightmare of the moments leading to the death and the painful accusation of that she was involved. As if that was not enough, she has lived with whispers that she was McGann's lover and that she caused his death, and that of her husband, Captain Glenmore Webley, several years later. There are people in the country today who know what happened. There was a coroner's inquest into McGann's death. The records are there. McGann's gun killed a member of his security detail. McGann was killed by the police who was responding to reports of shooting. Shots fired at my supporters, said Gordon-Webley. Shocking news. In fact, I felt I had wet myself when the news was relayed to me by walkie-talkie that he was dead, because his meeting in Papine was long finished when I passed through there that night. Heading to Garden Town, said Gordon-Webley, who was the JLP's candidate in the constituency. So in my report to JLP headquarters, I told them he was not at the scene where the shots were fired. It's not like I could see who was firing in the darkness, but nobody was in Papine when we passed through. So I told them he was not there at the Gordon-Webley. Fighting to compose herself despite the passing of time, Gordon-Webley said about 10 buses of her supporters took refuge at the Garden Town police station because they came under attack following a campaign meeting. According to her, Clinton McGann, a brother of Roy Mcgann, was her campaign manager, and despite the political climate, she did not want Roy dead, and she does not believe he wanted her dead either. Gordon-Webley had returned to Jamaica from England in the early 70s with a young daughter after an incident of domestic abuse involving the child's father. A victim of child abuse herself, she said scars are still evident on sections of her body today, reminders of beatings she received from relatives with whom she stayed after her parents migrated. She was not about to allow it to happen to her daughter, so she came home. After working as account receivable clerk on Spanish Town Road, she would walk to Dawn Avenue off Mullines Road where she lived after everyone left work. I didn't want anyone to see me walking, but that's what I did, so I would give my daughter lunch money so I know what hardship is. According to Gordon-Webley, her life would change when she was introduced to the JC's movement, which would take her into the life insurance industry. It was while she was an insurance agent that she met Pernell Charge in the St. Andrew community of Winton Garden, more popularly known as Rima. Things would again change when Charles was arrested during the 1976 state of emergency. When the charge against him were read, she consulted her diary for the day's entry. It rained that day, it rained heavily, so Pernell Charles could not have been there issuing any guns, and I went to JP headquarters and asked to see Bruce Golding, who was General Secretary, and told him I wanted to help. It was a short time later, through politics, that I met Glen Webley, she explained. Surviving a rough campaign where both she and Glen were elected, they were later married and had a daughter. Sorry, I said a laugh. I'm so sorry, daughter. 5 years later, while at home on medication, she would receive an envelope from one of the security guards at the company they operated. According to Gordon-Webley, the envelope contained his wedding band, his chain, and a note which said, "Inter alia, by the time you receive this, I will be dead." She remembered calling 3 close JLP friends in the frantic search for her husband, but by morning he was found dead on the Palisados Road with his firearm nearby. It was said to be suicide as he was shot in the left ear, although he was right-handed. It has been whispered for years that he was murdered by a mysterious passenger and that the passenger was her. I couldn't have been the passenger. I was at home, sick. He gave me one of the medication I took. He called to say he would be coming later than usual. And I took another tablet and fell asleep in the living room. I didn't pull any trigger. I wasn't there, declared Gordon-Webley. If anybody know how, give me a shout there, yes. Oh, I know who killed Gordon-Webley, you know. Man, they must all and dead, you know. You see, today, it is still not clear if it was murder or suicide. If he was murdered, the failure to find the killer has caused her unspeakable pain. Irrespective of all that happened, I still mourn Glen Webley today. I love him and he loved me. That much I know for sure, she concluded. Yeah, so that is another political assassination in Jamaica. You see, now one of the most famous one we all know about is Bob Marley. You see, it don't make no sense we try going into the details of that, but just for those who are saying, well, Bob Marley was an entertainer, why is he being called a political attempted assassination by Warwick Hyde? Well, for the most part, the entertainment that Bob Marley did was only entertaining for those who didn't know what he was singing about. When Bob Marley sing, for those who understood what Bob Marley was singing, know very well that Bob Marley was an activist, not for a particular political flavor or religious, but on a faith, a level, a consciousness whereby man and man can understand each other without partiality or boundaries or any inequalities or anything like that. No, the order of the day does not embrace things like those because, as you know, a divide and rule. This is how the society, even today, manage, financially and socially and in every way. So it maintain its presence by entertaining that psychological delusion amongst man and man, men and people, that one is better, who is well off, and who is intelligent and crap like those, all manner of device and division. Bob Marley sing and trample down them sort of thing there, and even in his speeches and attitude, he give simplified explanation and terms whereby man and man see sense, observe alternative social understandings than that of which the system and society are trying to push and perpetrate upon mankind. So we're not going to read much into Bob Marley's thing. Now I'm picking them so many either. You never know. That's how it go. His story is open knowledge anyway. And we have two more, like the recent happenings, so jump in and talk about one we never really know about neither. Former MP shot dead in Jamaica. The government and the opposition have expressed shock and dismay at the murder of former politician Dr. Neil McGill. I think this happened sometime in 2010. The publication is Sunday, August the 8th, 2010. And Neil McGill, I might have slipped my mind. Dr. McGill, who served as People's National Party Member of Parliament MP for Western St. Mary from 2002 to 2007, was shot dead in Albion, Manchester, Friday night. The 60-year-old was in Albion with a friend about 9 o'clock when they were pounced upon by 3 men, one armed with a gun, the other with knives. The attacker shot Dr. McGill and stabbed his friend several times. Dr. McGill died at hospital while his friend was treated and released. The police theorized that robbery was not the motive for his killing, as Dr. McGill's licensed firearm was found between his legs and money was still in his wallet. The former politician's murder was described by Carson Mood, a senior government minister, as a great tragedy. It's a great loss of someone who has served the nation at the level of representative of constituency for 5 years. I know him as someone who was extremely engaging with an even-handed, selfless approach to his politics. It just goes to show that political figures are not immune to the wrath and anger of those who decide to take their lives. These kinds of heinous acts, we really grieve with his family. He's someone who has served this country and served this country well, Mr. Samuda said. And PNP President Portia Simpson Miller has expressed shock and dismay at Dr. McGill's murder. Mistress Portia Simpson Miller, who is in Toronto on an official visit, said in a statement that she was deeply saddened at the news of his killing. Mistress Simpson Miller condemned the murder, which she said has come as a surprise to the party. She also expressed condolences to Mr. McGill's family. Jolian Silvera, the PNP's caretaker for Western St. Mary, also expressed anger at McGill's killing. Mr. Silvera said the brutal attack on the former MP has left the constituency in shock as Dr. McGill made a significant contribution to the welfare of the constituency. Mr. McGill called on all well-thinking and law-abiding residents in Manchester to cooperate with the police in an effort to bring Dr. McGill's killers to justice. You see, we never know, we never really know, say. Pardon. That what? Sorry. Now, the most recent, is Lennox Hines. This was Thursday, May the 26th, 2022, 7 p.m. Lennox Hines, Jamaica Labour Party councillor caretaker for the South Borough Division in St. Catherine, was shot and killed on Marcus Garvey Drive in Kingston this afternoon. Minister with responsibility for information, Robert Morgan, has confirmed. As a result, police are advising that motorists who are heading towards Portmore St. Catherine from Hagley Park Road in Kingston are being asked to divert to Spanish Town Road. This is as sections of Marcus Garvey Drive will be closed to facilitate the process of crime scene. So it has happened again in our most recent time. And and while we're more on the loss of life, embrace that. See, because we know say any man, a man create the system and the thing that we live in will affect us today, both positive and negative. See, and we know say a man can change them back. See, and we know say any man are any man, a man are just a man. See it. So we not to seeing. And by the back of that, most of them political killing here in Jamaica always happen by a politician. Them always kill them one another. A lot of cases them use ghetto youth. See, because right now, we don't even mention Ted Ogilvy yet. Where Ted Ogilvy is our thing that we can't deny that. Because as long as we rep for Anthony Brown, we always are going to say, we carry that baggage there too. See it. So I saw that, see it. You did have I think is a Venezuelan ambassador, El Salvador. One of them, they lose fame 3 point on the same airport main road there. Then call the policymakers highway. See it. A whole heap of things they always go on, them things they always go on at Jamaica. Jamaica is no stranger to that. See, the only thing say is like say, well then, ghetto youth has never really been the orchestrator and the totally responsible for that. Always somebody, if it's a ghetto youth, pull the trigger as a politician, usually employ him to go do a job. And to know the level of protection where might can get in return from a politician and him do it. See, because in a lot of cases the youth them afraid to do them thing the rasta and them own. No matter how much suffering the politician them put them through. See. And I just saw. See, but we just show say them thing there, Jamaica no stranger to them thing there, and both politician and the youth them to be aware say. I have to be aware of that. See, and you don't know, like I say, we don't mourn the loss of life. And we don't inspire certain things. We just hope for a change. And a change can avert all of them bad intentions. Because Jamaica, I don't know, really hostile to politicians as such. Or to politics. See, so once again we give thanks and we hope we make some sense today. Rastafari, share, like, and subscribe.